There's a number of different types of controllers that all generate control voltages, which can be used by things like voltage controlled oscillators, voltage controlled amplifiers, and so on. Probably the most commonly associated controller with synthesizers is the keyboard, and the keyboard generates a control voltage, or CV for short. And commonly the control voltage is fed directly to a voltage controlled oscillator, and this causes the VCO to assume the appropriate frequency associated with the key. The keyboard also generates a gate signal, and this normally goes to an envelope generator to initiate production of an envelope, which in turn gets applied to a voltage controlled amplifier to shape the amplitude of the raw signal coming out of the VCO. So a typical control voltage would look like kind of a stair-step sort of pattern, where as you press each key you get a different voltage out, and this happens in a fairly discrete sort of way. You can also use a portamento effect, where you get more of a continuous glide from one note to the next, and this continuous glide is a fairly recognizable special effect associated with analog synthesizers. So kind of here the tone seems to continuously vary in frequency from one note to the other. The gate signal coming out of the keyboard is simply an indicator about whether or not any key is being pressed down. It's a digital style signal, and as soon as we press it down, the signal, or the gate signal, is a 1 or at a high level, and when we release the key, then it goes back to 0. Another continuous style controller is the knob, and another would be a slider. And these give the musician the ability to continuously vary a control voltage, which again can be used to influence some other module. The LFO, or low frequency oscillator, is not really used for production of the actual source audio signal, but rather is used to somehow modulate some property of that signal. So the LFO would produce in this case, a sinusoidal waveform roughly in the area of 0 to 10 hertz, maybe as high as 30 hertz. And the idea is that if we combine that low frequency variation, combine in this case meaning add together, say add it to the control voltage coming from the keyboard, what will happen is instead of the keyboard producing just these constant discrete levels, the levels, once the frequency has been established, will kind of warble around a little bit. If we then feed that into a VCO, well, we've got the vibrato effect, because it's causing the frequency to undulate about some nominal frequency. Sequencer is a device that produces a repetitive set of control voltages similar in nature to the keyboard, but in this way it's an automated sort of thing. So it's producing a very regular pattern of control voltages, and it repeats. It's programmable, so you can establish whatever sort of pattern that you like. You can also adjust the rate, so you can make it go fast or slow or whatever you might need. And this is kind of a common special effect. Probably a famous early example of this would be the piece that I'm indicating here from Pink Floyd. You might want to check that out.